My boyfriend invited me to meet his male colleagues at a Hooters restaurant, where they grilled me about my job and interests as if I were being tested, while he just sat there guiding me through it. I've been dating this guy, let's call him Jake, for 3 months. He recently asked me to join him for dinner to meet some of his work friends. The first warning sign was the choice of Hooters as the venue. Jake explained that it was picked because it's near their workplace and convenient. That's true, but there are plenty of other nearby spots with better food and a more pleasant vibe. Before the dinner, Jake made a half-joking remark that his all-male coworkers didn't believe he was dating an attractive woman who shared their typically male-oriented hobbies. I was a bit annoyed by the comment, but he brushed it off as a joke. That phrase, "just joking," became the theme of the evening. When we arrived at Hooters, Jake and his colleagues started commenting on the waitress's appearances. It made me uneasy, but I stayed quiet. After we ordered food and drinks, his friends began interrogating me about my hobbies. They share some of the same male-dominated interests as me, but instead of asking about my preferences or current projects, they quizzed me with obscure trivia to test my knowledge. For instance, if my hobby were American history, they'd ask something like, "How many $5 bills are in circulation?" Or, "What's the oldest river in the US?" I'm also a junior automation engineer at a startup, still new to coding after transitioning from QA, where I learned to program on the job. I'm inexperienced and know I have a lot to learn, working on small projects with guidance. His coworkers, all senior software engineers, grilled me about technical topics far beyond my expertise, asking questions irrelevant to my role. They'd laugh, smile, and say, "We're just messing around." It felt like a bizarre job interview with each guy taking turns to challenge me. At some point, I stopped pretending to be amused and answered flatly. One of them seemed to realize it, as he avoided eye contact, stared at his phone, and stopped questioning me, looking uncomfortable. When they weren't quizzing me, they talked among themselves, ignoring me. If I tried to contribute, they'd interrupt or look away. These guys were 5 to 10 years older than me. I'm 25, Jake is 29, and his coworkers are in their early to mid-30s. I lack their experience. I'd hoped to meet professionals who could mentor me or answer career questions. Instead, one asked me to write a SQL query on the spot. They kept saying they were just kidding, but it was awkward and unpleasant. Jake sat next to me, not intervening, but instead coaching me with comments like, "You know this one?" or "Come on, we went over this last week." He even said to a coworker, "See, she's really smart too." The whole night was dreadful. Jake was upset with me afterward, noticing my mood shift during the questioning. He said I was acting immature by showing annoyance and audibly sighing when his friends spoke to me, claiming they were just trying to get to know me and have fun. I now see Jake as incredibly immature, acting more like a 13-year-old than someone nearing 30. I'm seriously considering ending the relationship. I don't think it's an overreaction to break up over this. Things were fine before, but now I feel repulsed by him. This happened last night, and I haven't responded to his texts today. I know ghosting isn't right, but I can't bring myself to face him. He disgusts me now like he was showing me off like a trophy. I'm unsure if I'll feel differently in a week or if my anger is justified. Comments where Op responded, "Comment. Jake sounds like a creep because he is one. He doesn't respect you and deliberately chose Hooters to unsettle you, talking about the waitress's looks while you sat there. They treated you like an object, testing you like you're a clueless kid. Dump Jake and his childish, sexist friends. Op, you're right. I'm kind of glad this happened so I could see Jake's true colors. Even if he didn't mean harm, he's an immature bro and I don't want that. I won't ghost him. I'll use this thread to list why his actions were wrong. I'm also amused thinking his friends will mock him after the breakup. I'll do it this weekend so he has something to discuss at work Monday." Comment. Why do Jake and his friends go to Hooters to ogle waitresses when they're so great at talking to women? Jake's an idiot who ruined his relationship by catering to his friends' juvenile behavior. He deserves them. You deserve better. Op, Jake always said he didn't like Hooters' vibe but loved their wings. I roll. Their comments about the waitresses, even saying some were too old to work there, really bothered me. Comment. My ex was a programmer and got along better with my coder friends than their partners. We never made her feel uncomfortable about work. Jake and his friends are not a good crowd. Op, I was shocked at how awful these guys were. At my job, everyone male, female, junior, senior is supportive and humble. Senior staff guide without belittling. We all start somewhere. Comment. Was the hobby Magic the Gathering? Op. It was actually several hobbies Jake bragged about to his friends, D&D, video games, and my taste for high-end whiskey. Update: wow, my post upset a lot of fragile guys. To them, lol. The real update is below. I got many private messages, some angry from men too scared to comment publicly, knowing they'd be downvoted. To those who were kind, sorry I couldn't reply to all. This is a throwaway, and I won't respond after this post. I read the most downvoted comments, cringeworthy, like a mix of toxic subreddits spouting sexist nonsense. Some claim to be women, an obvious sign of imposters. Hilarious. Thanks for sharing your stories. I'm sorry so many of you face similar experiences. This wasn't my first time being gatekept, just the most obvious. I know how guys act around each other. My brother and his friends joke and tease, but they don't quiz people or act judgmental. They're never cruel or dull like Jake's group. I've been around men before without it feeling like a bad interview. Update on breakup. I decided a phone call was better than ghosting to explain why Jake messed up. I called him Saturday saying we needed to talk. Jake, this is about the dinner, right? Me, yeah. Jake, and me, I've never felt so out of place. It was like a bad interview. They just tested my knowledge, didn't try to know me, and ignored or interrupted me. Jake, I didn't see it that way. Me, do you guys randomly quiz each other at work like, quick, write a SQL query to delete 2 rows from different tables? Jake, not really. Me, so why do it to me? That's not normal conversation. Jake, they were just having fun. Me, it wasn't fun for me. I don't quiz my friends, accountants, engineers on their jobs. I trust they know their stuff and ask normal questions. Jake, okay. Me, wouldn't it be weird to hand an accountant a CPA exam? Jake, maybe. We discussed more, but his responses were mostly I don't know or short answers. I told him I posted on Reddit and would send the link. He was upset, saying I had no right. I ended it, saying I couldn't see a future with him after seeing this side of him. I didn't want to be his showpiece. He hung up quietly. I sent him the post link. He texted me all weekend, upset that so many sided with me and angry we were breaking up over something so dumb. He sent apologies and asked to work it out, but when I didn't reply, he returned to angry texts. I also contacted his friend who looked at his phone that night, sending him the Reddit link. He admitted they were wrong, apologized for not stepping in, and wished me luck in my career. Next story. My brother-in-law moved in for 2 months but brought his girlfriend, and they've lived in my house rent-free for over a year while I work full-time and raise 2 kids. My husband calls me heartless when I ask them to leave. About a year ago, my husband 30M, and I 28F let my brother-in-law, Tom 19M, move in to escape a tough situation and start his adult life. This was May last year. We agreed he'd stay a couple of months until he found a roommate, pay rent, keep his space clean, and help around the house. I have 2 kids under 5, work full-time, and handle most household chores while my husband works 60 hours a week. After 2 months, Tom hadn't found a roommate. I gave him more time, understanding he's young and I had help at his age. I asked about his plans but got shrugs or I don't know. I started wondering if he was even looking. My husband said to give him time. By Christmas, Tom asked to have his out-of-state girlfriend of 2 years move in, promising she had a job and they'd leave in a month. I objected, as Tom wasn't supposed to stay this long, but my husband called me uncaring about his family. To avoid conflict, I stayed quiet. My mistake. The girlfriend moved in jobless, claiming she's been job hunting for 3 months. Now they don't pay rent, stopped cleaning, and show no effort to move out. I stopped asking Tom directly to avoid frustration and turned to my husband, who I no longer trust to handle this. When I bring it up, he gets hostile, accusing me of wanting to abandon his family and saying I agreed to this. Agreed to what? Yes, to Tom staying briefly, and I gave extra time. Now I feel uncomfortable in my home, and our arguments turn ugly. We don't share a bed anymore. I feel tricked into supporting 2 extra adults while raising my family. I'm angry at being painted as the villain when I tried to help. What should I do? Am I wrong for letting this happen? Update 1, thanks for the perspectives. Most said to kick all 3 out. Some responses gave me a laugh in this frustrating situation. Thank you. After considering everything, I gave my husband an ultimatum. Tom and his girlfriend must leave by June 1 with all rent paid, or I'll move out with the kids. I'll stop cooking for them, store detergents and toiletries in my closet, and change the Wi-Fi password. 2 months gives me time to prepare if I need to leave. I doubt my husband wants us to go, but he might think I'm bluffing. I confirmed I can support myself and the kids if needed. Update 2. It's almost June 1, and they're still here. I need advice. I was recently diagnosed with stage 2 hypertension. My doctor says my diastolic pressure of 97 is dangerous for my age 28, and I could die in 15 years without changes. I've had a 4-day anxiety attack since my last post, plus the diagnosis. I'm focusing on my health, weight loss, stress management. My husband has been kinder, helping more so I can focus on myself and the kids. The arguing and gaslighting have stopped, and I feel hopeful. Tom's girlfriend got a job last month and has kept it. They've paid rent since my ultimatum, resumed cleaning, buy their groceries, and are looking for apartments. They want to extend past June 1. Should I allow a few more weeks or stick to the deadline? I think my husband pushed them to step up, which I appreciate, but it's frustrating it took a health scare. Morning update. Last night, after putting the kids to bed, I calmly asked my husband about June 1. He said there's no progress and he won't talk to them. Then he exploded, yelling about ignoring our agreement. I snapped, saying he doesn't care about my feelings and can leave with them. He said, "Tell me when you want me out." I said, "June 1. He shut down, stormed out, and turned off his location. He returned late, silent, then tried small talk this morning. I'm not being petty, I'm just lost. My 4-year-old asked why Daddy isn't staying, breaking my heart knowing she heard us. Update 3, July 10, 2025. They moved out a month ago. Life is normalizing. My husband got the message with divorce papers, and we've since communicated better. I've paused divorce proceedings to see if we can salvage things. I've had more health issues with procedures next week, so that's my focus. I told my husband I need someone fully present, physically, emotionally, mentally, if these are my final days. He's taking off work to support me through the procedures. I'm grateful for the peace in my home and the support from everyone. Each day feels like a gift.